Hello, thank you for tuning in to this telecast. This is the Diaspora Panel, the voice of the diaspora. And this is our midweek impromptu session where I will be talking to Mr. Olalawal, who is based in Canada. Mr. Lawal, you are welcome to today's impromptu meeting.
Thank you for having me.
So tonight we want to discuss the events that has been taking place in Ondo State, and we want to analyze what has been going on in the last few months. First of all, if you are one of our viewers and you have not yet subscribed, please hit that subscription button. It means that anytime we do a new video, you'll be one of the first people to know about it. And if you want to send us any email or if you want to give us any advice, please send your email to info@diasporapanel.com. So, Shupo, let's hit the ground running. So, in the last few months, especially since June this year, we were told that the governor of Ondo State, Arakuni Rotimi Akeredolu, SAN, that he has fallen sick, and we knew he's been sick for some time, over a couple of years, but we didn't know what was wrong until recently when we were now told that he died of leukemia and prostate cancer. But anyway, 6 months ago, he was taken to Germany for medical checks, for medical on medical grounds. And then he transferred power to his deputy, Mr. Lucky Ayedatiwa. And subsequently, he was there for many weeks until people were now saying, "What's wrong with our governor? Where's the governor? If the governor is not able to continue, why don't him just resign, honorably?" And thereafter, he was flown back to Nigeria, and then he took over the governance. He withdrew the letter he wrote to the House of Assembly to say, "I am back and I'm back to work." But since he returned back from Germany, he has never visited, he has never gone to, he didn't go to Akure, the capital of Ondo State, to resume work. He stayed in Ibadan, where he has his house, and that's where he was. And after some time, we were hearing that some letters were coming from Ibadan, some documents that were purportedly forged, some cabal, in that government, some people in that government were forging his signature and using these documents, to embezzle money, to take money out, to do all sorts of things, So, and then there was the public outcry, to this development. And after, a few days of this public outcry, a letter suddenly emerged that Akeredolu has now transferred power again to his deputy, and he was to be flown out to Germany again on medical ground to look after himself. And subsequently, Ayedatiwa, the deputy governor, took over as acting governor. And then just 2 weeks after, we were told that Akeredolu has died. So, this is giving me a deja vu. A deja vu. We saw what happened in Yaradua's case, where we have a man who has been dead for some time, wrapped up and locked up somewhere, while the cabal were busy trying to, usurp his power and exercise his rights. It's only that during the Yaradua's time, there was no forgery of documents. Although people were trying to tell us that this man is alive, but we can't see him. So in this kind of instance, Chupo, I am wondering, just like many millions of Nigerians, that is this a kind of Yaraduanization? Do you think that Akeredolu could have been dead for the last 3 months or even more? And some people have just, wrap him up, and, put him somewhere in the morgue. And then was started to brazenly forge his signature so as to take out money from the covers of the state government until some people now shouted, and then they stopped. What exactly do you think went on?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me this morning. I think the unfortunate thing is these types of situations is actually quite common in Nigerian politics. And it will tell you how much Nigerian politicians love to hold on to power. There is the office of the vice president, I'm sorry, of the deputy governor, and that office is there for a reason. um, it is something that probably shouldn't happen often, but on the very rare occasions that it does happen, you would think that the legislature, the House of Assembly, and all the appropriate elected officials will do the right thing, which is to allow the deputy governor to assume the role of the governor in the interim while the governor is taking treatment. And then in the event that the unfortunate happens and the governor passes away, that is immediately sworn in. That doesn't normally happen because there are usually other parties that despite the fact that constitutionally the order and the presidency is clear, you still have parties that will be jostling for power. But to answer your question, I personally believe that this has happened actually a little while ago, because initially when there were reports, that he wasn't well and all that, the family actually released video evidence of him in an hospital setting. I've seen some of the videos even within the last 24 hours, where you could actually see him ill. You could see people talking to him and all that. Other than those videos, I would say in the last month, there have been no new videos that have surfaced of Akeredolu. I mean, even if you want to show, even if he was in a coma, I mean, show him on an hospital bed, show him where he is. And I would say, allow at least members of the House of the State of Representatives to have access to him. To be able to say for themselves, okay, this is our governor, this is his current medical situation. What we've seen are just, proxies, and proxies meaning documents that were purportedly signed, where the signatures could not really be verified. Some of those activities actually could be fraudulent if it actually does, if it is eventually revealed that he had died, a little while ago. But this also shows the lack of process. The office of the governor should have some form of a chief medical officer. And in this situation, it is the medical officer that should provide facts, about his medical condition, if he's taking treatment, where he's taking treatment, when he's expected to be back, and all of these things. This should not be left to the family. The family really actually should have no business. Their only business should be to support their family member, to get the appropriate treatment till he is able to resume his official duties. So, this is what happens when you have societies where there is no clear delineation between official matters, people, family members acting on his behalf, which shouldn't happen. But it tells, it paints a picture of, a lack of due process where there is no official, provision within, the state constitution that actually, puts that responsibility on a chief medical officer assigned and appointed to the government house, whose sole responsibility is to actually provide factual information about the governor's state.
Okay, Shukwa. Some other factors that I have seen in the last few days is that when a letter was being transmitted to the House of Assembly for that Akeredolu should take over as acting governor, what was said was that Akeredolu was to be flown out to Germany for medical on a medical trip. Okay, so now when his death was announced, what we were hearing was that, oh, he died in Germany. That was what was put out. But when I listened to the deputy, I mean the new governor, the Akeredolu was on him, he said that Akeredolu died in Ibadan, which means he wasn't flown to Germany. And maybe about 2-3 weeks ago, one of the commissioners, came on TV, and when she was defending, all these forged documents, and she was asked, when was the last time you saw Akeredolu? And she said she saw him 3 months ago. So if indeed Akeredolu is in Ibadan, he never traveled anywhere, and nobody saw him for 3 months. Nobody was able to communicate with him for 3 months. And so people were signing documents. They were taking money out of the government coffers. They were they were selecting local government chairmen and swearing them in. So this sort of cabal, whoever they are, do you think it's not something the ICPC or AFCC or DSS, should they not be looking to find out what went on there? This is massive fraud.
Yeah.
Massive fraud.
So, and my prediction or my thinking is that you will not see anything from the security agencies. And the reason is because Ondo State is an APC state. We're talking about an APC governor. And I would be almost certain that, what the true nature or the true picture of things is not hidden from the powers that be at the federal level. And that is one of the reasons why I don't believe that there's going to be any investigation. Personally, I think there should be. Again, this really shows the lack of proper process. Does the office of the governor have a chief medical officer assigned? What is the role of the chief medical officer in providing, in this type of situation, updates, to the House and to the public on the state of health of the governor? I don't think we will ever get to the bottom of it. We never got to the bottom of what happened with respect to President Yar'Adua. When it happened, there were news flying around. So this is what happens typically in Nigeria. I personally believe if the lady said the last time he saw the governor was 3 months ago, that is not enough. I mean, if you are defending documents that were brought to the House a few days ago, at the minimum, you would expect that she has seen the governor maybe in the last 24 to 48, to 72 hours. I think another interesting thing that I would really love to see is the autopsy report, because typically the autopsy, if one is performed, which again should be another responsibility assigned to the chief medical officer, assigned to the government house. There should be an autopsy. There should be a time of death. There should be a cause of death identified, signed by an authorized medical practitioner, which should put all of this to bed.
Thank you, Shukwu. So, Shukwu, one thing again I would like to also discuss is, now the people who are forging these documents, knowing the type of person Akeredolu is a very strict, moral, upright person. The only reason why anybody will forge Akeredolu's signature is because they know he will never find out. That's the only reason why they will do it so brazenly. And he never found out, so they knew he was dead. Now we have a new governor in place who was demonized, who was, pushed all over the place. At some point, he was even forced to sign a resignation letter in advance. When he went to meet with they went to meet with the president. So this is somebody who has been politically boxed around. Now he has the power is in his hands now. Do you not think that because the power, what is playing out is succession politics?
Yes.
2024. So people are bent on making sure he never got into that seat. Now that he has the knife and the yam, don't you think Aida should go ahead, as you have suggested, do an autopsy, find out if these documents were actually forged, find out who forged them, when were they forged, what was the reason for being forged, what did they do, did they steal money from the government coffers? How much did they steal? And so we can have a closure. What do you think?
So I doubt very much if that will happen because Lucky Aiyedatiwa is also a politician, and from now on, trust me, he will also be fighting for his own political survival. That may play out to pro Akeredolu members of the State House reaching an agreement where he will not ruffle feathers, and equally they would not launch impeachment proceedings. See, this is a very, very interesting and very delicate balance. The fact that he has been sworn in to succeed Governor Akeredolu for the remainder of his second term does not mean he will be returned in the next election cycle as the APC candidate. As a matter of fact, he may have reached, and this is just pure speculation, there may have been considerations and discussions behind closed doors, allowing him, to assume the role of governor, which constitutionally is the right thing to do, but with a new deputy governor chosen for him, who likely would then be, the anointed successor. So this is all politics. My only concern is when you appoint somebody as deputy governor, you at least have to understand the fact that in very rare circumstances, this person may become governor if something actually happens to the governor during his tenure. Why would you select somebody that you don't really intend to be governor into that position? It makes no sense because in the event that the unfortunate happens, that is the person constitutionally that will be required to assume office. So but sometimes politicians in the scheme to get votes will zone certain roles to certain areas of the state to get the much needed votes for the candidate on the top of the ticket to become governor, but without the intent of following through if that unfortunate scenario plays out. There's a lot of politics, there's a lot of jostling, but trust me, I am very, very certain that there are agreements that are already reached where you likely will not see any investigation of what has happened in exchange for no motions being moved in the House to impeach the new governor.
Thank you very much. So finally, and this is the final question, we've seen this played out so many times in Nigeria during the Yaradua period. That was actually very extensive and very, it's not a good feeling. And this is happening again now, Akeredolu. So, who should be watching this democracy? Who should be who should be talking out to say this cannot continue? Politicians should be allowed to do the right thing. Look at what's playing out now in Edo State, where a governor is trying to prevent the deputy from even from becoming the next governor. This is what is happening now in Edo State, and you see what is playing out in River State. We are an ex-governor who still want to be pulling the strings, in the background. And this goes on and on in every other, political space. So how do you think what can Nigeria do to make sure that politics is played the right way?
So that's a very, very good question, actually, because one of the things that this Ondo State crisis has also confirmed is that Nigerian State House of Assemblies, the National House of Assembly, has a dead opposition party. Traditionally, this should be the main responsibility of the opposition parties. They're supposed to hold, the elected party accountable. I would have expected to see PDP members of the State House of Assembly moving motions, charging forward, summoning again, the appropriate, medical personnel within the office of within the governor's office to actually hold hearings and get to the bottom of it. Where is the governor? Is he taking treatment? Why is he taking treatment outside of the state? There are no hospitals in the state, where he can actually get the treatment. Why does he have to be flown to Germany? These are all important questions that the public, needs, to hear and understand. But none of that ever happened. So, and if we look at the crisis in River State, even the opposition party PDP at the federal level was unable to really resolve that crisis, within their party. So what we are seeing invariably is a massive, in fact, I would say massive is another statement, is a colossal failure of the opposition. And that also will give you an insight into the mentality of Nigerians. Where is Atiku Abubakar at this point in time? What was said during the previous election before the last one was that when he lost in 2019, he basically packed up his things and went to Dubai. It seems to me that the same thing is happening. Where is, he has really failed, as kind of the leader, at least of the PDP, to rally the party together, to make sure that they are holding the government accountable federally, within the National House of Assembly and within the respective state House of Assembly where they are the official opposition. In another couple of years' time, he will likely come back again and issue a 7-point agenda that he wants to rule the country. I quite honestly think, he has failed. I think the party has failed. I think the PDP leadership really needs to, get itself together, maybe even form an alliance with the Labour Party, join forces together, and provide a viable opposition party within, the Nigerian political system. I think what we are seeing is a colossal failure of the opposition, and every democracy needs, a ruling government, but at the same time, a good opposition party that it's playing its role in holding the elected party accountable.
Thank you. Thank you, Shukwa. We've run out of time. So I want to say thank you very much for coming to this impromptu meeting. And to all our viewers, I want to say thank you for tuning in to this telecast. Please, if you have not yet subscribed, please hit that button now. It is free of charge. It means that when we do the next video, you'll be one of the first people to know about it. And if you have any news for us or any information for us, please send your emails to info@diasporapanel.com. We'll see you again next Sunday. Shukwa, again, thank you for coming to today's meeting.
Thank you so much for having me.
And to all our viewers, we see you on Sunday. Goodbye and good luck.